Now on CoastTV News.
Sand slipping away in South Bethany. Now town leaders are scrambling for a plan to fix the dunes without federal funding. Hitting the brakes, Rehoboth launches a 90-day effort to slow drivers down. What changes you could start seeing on busy roads. And a divisive proposal in Dover now off the table. City Council's decision after months of debate.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Danger on the dunes in South Bethany after that recent snowstorm. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. It's our top story tonight, that recent winter storm bringing significant erosion to Delmarva's coastal communities, and a lack of federal funding is keeping South Bethany from getting the beach replenished this year. Multiple storms this fall and winter have left shelves along the coast. You can see here also they've made the beaches more narrow. South Bethany's mayor says the town will work with DENREC to design a new access ramp under the new conditions and find ways to get people onto the beach. But one neighbor says having some dune is better than having no dune.
I can remember a time where there were no dunes, and I mean, it's not great for the people that are right on the beach, but for being down the street a little bit, it's certainly fine.
Coastal leaders affected by this lack of federal funding say they expect to have the beaches replenished sometime in 2027. A heads up, the point at Cape Henlopen State Park is closing on Sunday, March 1st for the spring and summer season. It has closed every year since 1993 because of threatened and endangered beach nesting, migratory shorebirds, also other wildlife species. The ocean side, though, will reopen to the public on September 1st. Bayside will not reopen until October 1st. That's again because of shorebird migration. Now we're looking live into Rehoboth Beach. Still a lot of snow there on the boardwalk. We're going to check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams, who says there might be more snow on the way.
Right now we have temperature of 39 degrees in Ocean City with the winds pushing gently out of the north at about 4 miles per hour. Now we had some precipitation earlier, but now that's subsided for us. But we're expecting for the cloud cover to stick around as we hover in the mid-30s actually for us in Ocean City. We started off this morning at 33 degrees in Georgetown, 36 in Cambridge, 34 the starting point in Salisbury, and 35 is where we began the day in Ocean City. Now we're looking very clear at this point. We had some light scattered showers from earlier today. They've now dissipated for the most part, although we still have a few leftover sprinkles, but even they've now moved on to greener pastures, so to speak. But we are expecting for it to continue to stay clear for us throughout the rest of the evening, with temperatures staying just above freezing for the rest of the night going into tomorrow. Now, coming up, we are going to be talking about it getting even warmer as we go into the weekend.
Okay, thanks, Paul. A 90-day effort to slow things down on the streets of Rehoboth Beach. The Streets and Safety Advisory Committee was formed back in November to address speeding on some of the city's busiest roads. Now, some of those short-term traffic calming measures include painted driveway boxes, also speed readers, and more speed limit signs. Anthony Unger, who lives in Rehoboth, says he has been waiting for interventions on Columbia Avenue for more than a decade.
One speed bump like they had down here, people go over it, then they'd speed up and they'd get up to 40, 50 miles an hour because they were in a rush because the speed bump slowed them. It has to be consistent. And the fact of the matter is that if you go down to first or second, there's stop signs down there. And there's no reason you can't have stop signs down here. So this is sort of like an area where I think it's largely been ignored. And I hope the city's now going to address it.
City officials say they are still working on longer-term speeding solutions there in Rehoboth. Also, the polar bear plunge in Rehoboth Beach benefiting Special Olympics Delaware has been canceled. The nonprofit says the boardwalk, beach crossings, and sidewalks are just still covered in snow, making it too dangerous, but some events will still take place, like the chili contest. There's going to be more time to bike on the boardwalk in Ocean City starting this summer. The council has extended boardwalk riding hours from noon until 2 p.m. during the busy season, and that's for bikes, roller skates, and skateboards. But as Kevin Zapay reports, some say it could be a safety problem.
Gary Brown lives along the Ocean City boardwalk and rides his bike every day up and down the more than 2-mile stretch during the summer. But even with years of experience, Brown says riding during the busy season is a challenge.
After 11 o'clock, you have to stop for people. People walk out on you. I probably could have gotten at least 3 or 4 accidents a day if I wasn't paying attention.
And now, after a rule change by the council, Brown is worried that danger will get worse.
There's going to be a lot of accidents this year.
Originally, bikes, roller skates, and skateboards were only allowed on the boardwalk during the busy season between midnight to noon. Now they're allowed until 2 p.m., an extra 2 hours of riding. According to the Ocean City manager, the town noticed an increase in foot traffic on the boardwalk at around 3 to 4 p.m. And with the tram not in operation, the majority of the council felt comfortable extending the hours to 2 p.m. While some agree with the council's decision, Brown believes it's going to cause more harm than good.
For 100 people and bicycles and little kids riding back and forth, I ride the boards. I live on the boardwalk. I ride the boards every day. And after 11 o'clock, it's just not safe.
As everyone gets ready for the snow to melt and the hot summer to come back, the real test will come when thousands of visitors return to the boardwalk. I'm Kevin Zappé, Ocean City, Coast TV News.
Let's go to Dover now, where a controversial panhandling ordinance is off the table. The City Council last night rejecting the new restrictions, and this comes after months of debate. The ordinance would have fined people for loitering and approaching cars at intersections. Now, supporters said it was about driver and pedestrian safety, but opponents argued this violates the U.S. Constitution.
Yes, I do feel the council made the right decision because this ordinance was wrong on many different levels.
This ordinance is an ordinance that really is about compassion for people and protecting people and about the quality of life.
The ordinance was set to take effect in July, but that's not going to happen now, and we will have to wait and see if City Council goes back to the drawing board. Construction is happening at Waterside Park in Salisbury. The city says work started yesterday on a new combined restroom and pavilion at the park. Additional upgrades include improvements to the playground equipment and the basketball court. Those are expected this summer. Mayor Randy Taylor says the project will help create a safe, welcoming space for kids and families.
Well, I mean, I think anytime you have a good playground, you want to make it better, and that's a critical one because it's right around Pemberton School, and in that corridor has got a lot of apartment buildings and a lot of kids after school. So the summertime and after school, it's a great place for them to go.
Parking is not allowed on site during construction, and that project is set to wrap up in June. Also in Salisbury, a lot of cleanup ahead at the Salisbury Zoo after last weekend's snowstorm. The zoo was closed all weekend after strong winds brought down tree limbs. Staff are now working around the clock to clear pathways and clean up the habitats.
I mean, we are just blessed that the storm hit us the way it hit us, and our preparations of doing things, made it a safe place for everybody.
And the zoo says thankfully no animals were hurt. The zoo also says they expect the damage to cost anywhere between $25,000 and $50,000. The goal is to reopen at the start of next week at the Salisbury Zoo. Making national headlines tonight, Hillary Clinton, the former First Lady and Secretary of State, testifying behind closed doors before the House Oversight Committee today. It's all part of the congressional probe of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. As Sherelle Hubbard reports, the former First Lady spoke with reporters afterward. She said she answered every question.
In a closed-door deposition in New York Thursday, former First Lady and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton faced House lawmakers for 6.5 hours of questions in a deposition tied to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton said she never met Epstein and denied having any knowledge of his criminal activities.
I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices.
Clinton did say she knew Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, casually as an acquaintance. Clinton also criticized GOP committee members for keeping her deposition private.
No Republican member asked any questions about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to anyone else they have deposed.
Clinton also says she was asked about UFOs and the Pizzagate conspiracy theory.
We are sitting through an incredibly unserious clown show of a deposition.
Committee Chairman James Comer told reporters it had been a productive deposition, but that he was not satisfied with all of Clinton's answers.
The number of times that she said, "I don't know, you'll have to ask my husband," was more than a dozen.
Secretary Clinton told reporters she was confident her husband had no knowledge of Epstein's crimes. Former President Bill Clinton is scheduled to sit for his own deposition Friday. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
We still have more news to tell you about tonight. Coming up ahead, possible parking solutions in Lewis, what the city is considering to open up more spots in the summertime. And coming up, Paul Williams in our Coast TV First Alert Weather Center with a look at your full forecast. But first, serving more than sandwiches, a century of stories inside Wilson's General Store. It's this week's Coastal Connections up next. We all know Delaware is the first state, and with that comes a lot of history, a lot of old places. What was once a one-room schoolhouse in Georgetown evolved into a general store, and now it's widely considered the oldest deli in Delaware. In this week's Coastal Connections, Emma Aiken brings us to Wilson's General Store.
This little store in Georgetown has lived a lot of lives. First, it was a one-room schoolhouse in the 1890s. Then, in the 1930s, Marshall Wilson converted it into a rural country store. He named it Wilson's General Store. In the 70s, Marshall's son, Jim, took over.
Jim had the store for 80 plus years, him and his father, and they built quite a culture here. So when we bought it 3 or 4 years ago, we just built on that base culture.
That's Jim in the middle there. And on his sides, Laura Berberich and Tim Cupston, who've owned the store for the past few years, though Jim is still there most days.
He was the Grand Marshal, still is the Grand Marshal. We owe it to this guy.
Jim tells me you used to be able to buy everything at Wilson's. You could even walk into Wilson's and buy a sandwich and a gun in the same trip.
What caught our eye is when we first passed here, we saw the sign. It said sandwiches, firearms, ammunition, and notary.
And sitting behind those three is a group of regulars who can attest to those very memories.
We bought our guns, ammunition under Jim Wilson. He made a lot of money off of us.
Now Wilson's has evolved into mostly a sandwich shop. And it's widely considered the oldest deli in Delaware.
Once you try it and stuff, you'll not go to McDonald's or Hardee's. You'll come to Wilson's store because you'll get the best sandwich and the best price on Delmarva.
That's local Joe Pete, who's been here since the beginning.
I bought the first sandwich when this store opened.
Pete and his friends go to Wilson's just about every morning.
Joe?
Yes.
Please let me know about the sandwich we named after you.
Oh yeah, I got a sandwich up here.
So much so that Pete got his own sandwich named after him. Of course, the Delaware way, with scrapple.
This is a scrapple, bacon cheese.
I suggested that he gets one slice of scrapple, one egg on toast, and they named the sandwich after me. It's called Joe Pete.
Rang the cowbell, and he quieted down.
Pete says Wilson's is an escape.
It's horrible how things is, but when you come to Wilson's store, you get cheered up. I mean, you come out positive. We try not to be negative. Right, Bob?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, yes. We come out with a positive attitude.
And that bond goes both ways.
We have a lot of the same locals every morning, and they're part of the Wilson family, and we're proud to have them here.
The Wilson's family.
I'm not going to kiss him, but I'll shake his hand.
Laughter from the locals to the sizzle of the start of a sandwich. Wilson's isn't just a store or a deli, it's a living slice of Delaware history. For Coastal Connections, I'm Emma Aiken.
For the next couple of days, we are in for quite a treat, a bit of a warm-up. We're going to warm up to the norm, and then we'll go above and beyond the norm, go back to the norm again, and then we may have to talk a little bit about some snow and all that stuff. We'll just put that off to the side till after the weekend is done. In Lewis, 37 degrees, looking very clear. We'll drop down to 35, partly to mostly cloudy skies, relatively light winds, not a problem. We had rain earlier this evening, but it passed on our way, moved in a more zonal way from the west to the east, not being a continuous nuisance at best, or at worst, so to speak. But now we're actually clearing out. We still have a lot of cloud cover in place, and we are cooler. I mean, we're like 7 degrees cooler now than we were just 24 hours ago, particularly in Georgetown, for example. But we're right at actually exactly where we were yesterday as far as Cambridge is concerned. Now, we warmed to like 44 degrees. Yesterday, we had a high of 47, so we're not too far off of the mark of 50. Now, the low was really close, right there, 32 versus 33. That's pretty much status quo at this point. Now, for tonight, we will drop to near freezing in Milton, Redden, as well as Georgetown, down to 32 degrees. So there's still a chance of a little bit of refreezing occurring because of the melt and the runoff from the melting of the snow that's been piling up on the side of the roads, on the sidewalks, and all of that. But a lot of the roads have been paved really nicely. Congratulations, way to go, Del Dot, in a lot of places. And as we go into Friday, we'll start off a bit on the cloudy side, and we're watching out for a sprinkle, worst case scenario. But we're mainly going to see partly to mostly cloudy skies. We'll see some sunshine. Winds pushing out of the north, ranging between 5 to up to 10 miles per hour. Temperatures in the mid to upper 40s for the inland areas, and on the coast, on the coast it's going to be cooler, but the inland area is a little bit warmer for us. Now for Friday, we're warm to near 51 degrees in places like Seaford, Del Mar, and Salisbury. However, we'll stay in the upper 40s in all the other locations. We'll be cooler along the coast. Saturday's going to be a treat. By lunchtime, we're going to be at 54 degrees. Then we'll climb to 59 to near 60 in a lot of locations with our latest model run. So when you take a look at the next 3 days along the coast, Chincoteague and Assateague, we stay in the 40s to low 50s, which is close to the norm for this time of the year. We'll be slightly below that in Ocean City. We'll hit the norm on Saturday in Fenwick Island and slightly fall below that on Sunday. For Lewis and Rehoboth, we'll go from 46 to 50, back down to 43 for Sunday. Now, our chances of precipitation escalate for Monday as we watch out for a chance of snow, because that's when cold air will sneak into the picture. We'll have a high-pressure system to our north, low to our south. We'll have a mixture of ice and snow trying to make its move on us by Monday night. The earliest, I mean, it's too early for me to start giving you numbers, I'm going to be honest with you, but between you and me, I mean, we're not looking. Well, I'll wait until the numbers start making more sense. Right now, we're looking at there's going to be some snow trying to form in the afternoon. Then it changes over quickly into a mix by the evening time, and so it's not all that dependable. Here's the bottom line. No matter what snow we get, we're going to have above normal temperatures immediately following that. So it's not expected to stick around for a long period of time. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Watching out for that snow on Monday night going into Tuesday.
Thanks again, Paul. Delaware's Department of Health and Social Services and DENREC are reopening a grant opportunity to support awareness about PFAS, also known as forever chemicals that can contaminate our groundwater. Officials say only Delaware organizations and local governments and people working for the state are eligible for this grant. According to DHSS, applications are due March 27th. Well, I know it's still the middle of winter, but still parking in Lewis can be hard to come by, and this only gets worse in the summertime. But CoastTV reporter Emma Aiken shows us how the city is trying to tackle this issue.
Driving through Lewis.
Downtown, which is such a lovely little town, but parking's kind of a pain.
The city wants to ease that burden, so a parking working group is drafting ideas, trying to balance the needs of people who call Lewis home, visitors, and businesses in the city. Gaia Coffee Company owner Ben Messino has experienced the parking pains.
It can be really frustrating, especially when your staff's trying to rush to work and stuff and they can't find anything. They have to park, maybe at the library. It has happened a few times because there's no closer places.
And his fear? That no spots means no business.
My largest concern I have for customers tells me is we would love to come try your coffee, but we can't find parking.
Melinda Girardi, who lives in Lewis, says that sometimes is the reality.
If I use the parking meter app, it's a 2-hour minimum, so that's $3.50, and then they charge you 50 or 65 cents for using the app, which I find ridiculous. So then that's another, so it's like $10 for a cup of coffee. I have a coffee maker at home.
One thing the city is researching is a residential parking permit program, looking at other areas with similar downtowns like Rehoboth Beach and Bethany Beach to see how their systems work.
I think it's a great idea. I think especially people living right here should have at least one parking spot.
Now, it's important to note the working group will focus only on parking here in downtown, not so much over at the beaches. Lewis Mayor Amy Marasco tells me the working group will have to go to council with their ideas and that it may take some time before we actually see some of these ideas implemented here in the city. Reporting in Lewis, I'm Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
Coming up in sports tonight, a Bayside girls basketball champion was crowned in Salisbury. The Delmarva Sports Network tells us if Stephen Decatur defeated its rival, Kent Island. And coming up, a new email scam in Georgetown. What to know so you don't become the next target.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Beware of a new scam going around Georgetown. The police department tells us it's an email scam targeting local businesses. Coast TV's Ana Sofia Roman shows us the technique that those scammers are using.
The Georgetown Police Department says scammers are sending emails using a reproduced official Georgetown letterhead impersonating town employees. The email asks recipients to send payments by wire transfer for supposed town services. Georgetown Town Manager Dean Dvornik says it's unfortunate.
The town will not send out an email and request that an applicant or anyone who's a ratepayer or anyone who's got a payment due to the town of Georgetown that they do it through wire transfer with specific wire instructions in an email. It's usually the reverse. The people will come in and they can pay in person.
Lieutenant Joel Diaz with the Georgetown Police Department says one business has received that email.
We will reach out to our agency partners, and whether it's the Delaware State Police or other states, to determine if this is a reoccurrence or a common occurrence in their jurisdictions and see if we can connect the dots.
Dvornik emphasized how the town goes about bills.
Most of ours will come on a town letterhead. It'll come as a town invoice. It'll come in the mail, not through email.
Georgetown Police is hoping this is an isolated event, but they say anyone who receives a suspicious email should contact them immediately. In Georgetown, Ana Sofia Roman, Coast TV News.
This brings us right to our Coast TV poll. We're asking you today, have you ever been targeted by a scam? Let's look at the results here. Definitely some mixed answers today. Some people say email scam, phone scam, text scam. Some people have never been targeted, so that's good. But we did get a comment from Jim in Milton tonight. He says he's been scammed on all three platforms, but he never bit on the hook. He said there are some cruel people scamming others. Thank you, Jim, for your comment, and you can leave your own comment. You can also still vote. Just go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. In sports tonight, the Bayside Conference Championships played out, and on the girls' side, it was a rematch from 3 years ago. DSN's Ian Nicholas is courtside with the breakdown.
For the first time in 9 years, Stephen Decatur girls basketball is the champion of the Bayside Conference, and it was pretty easy tonight from Parkside High against Kent Island, 70-41 in favor of the Seahawks. Let's get you into the highlights. Close game after the first quarter. Seahawks did jump out to the early lead, but only by 4. They opened this game up in the second quarter when Stephen Decatur was plus 10 against KI. They went into the half with a 14-point lead, and they only held the Buccaneers to 15 first half points. They only scored 16 more in the second half. The lead for Stephen Decatur ballooned to over 20 after 3 quarters, and then they win the game by nearly 30. And they get revenge against Kent Island, a team that beat them in this very same Bayside Championship game just 3 years ago. And the last time that Stephen Decatur had won the conference before this year, we said it was 9 years ago, but who was it against? It was against Kent Island. So a little bit of deja vu here from Salisbury tonight, led by Malia Blake, who had 18 points, bringing back good memories in one of her best performances of her breakout sophomore season for Stephen Decatur. Reporting from Parkside High School, Ian Nicholas, DSN.
Listen to this, a man in New York will be allowed to keep his custom license plate after the New York Department of Motor Vehicle had deemed it objectionable. You just saw the plate there. It says PB4 we go. It's a little reminder before a road trip, but last month he got a letter from the DMV saying he has to destroy the plate and replace it with a new standard one. But the owner pushed back. He also posted on social media, and the story actually caught the attention of the governor of New York. She said the man could keep the plate. Now, this might remind you of a similar story here in Delaware. Back in 2022, cancer survivor Carrie Overington of Milton had a plate that read F cancer. She said it meant fight cancer, but the Delaware DMV recalled it, saying it contained profanity. Now, Overington actually sued the Delaware DMV over this, and in May 2024, a judge sided with her, saying the state didn't have clear standards for approving vanity plates, and since then, you still can't get a new vanity plate in Delaware as the state reviews those standards.
And as a cancer survivor, I believe in F cancer too. Fight it. All right, so Cambridge, and I stand by that. All right, hey, let's all fight it. Cambridge right now, 39 degrees. We'll drop to 35 with partly to mostly clear skies. Now, with live radar, we're staying very clear. Our job fair, we're going to have wonderful conditions. It'll be in the 50s for the job fair. It's going to be in Georgetown. Keep up with your forecast. Our umbrella winner is Beth Reddinder. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, and here's a look at your 10-day exclusive forecast.
Thank you so much, Paul, and thanks to you for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. You can always find more news and weather if you download our Coast TV News app, and you can join us again tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. The Tonight Show is next. Have a good night.